We are still in announcement limbo, but the spice has returned. Hi guys, welcome back to Casting Commons, the show where we talk and discuss all things Pauper. I am your host Teasdale, and this is my co-host, the Gold Hound himself, Reese.
Hello.
Makes you sound like a money grabber.
I was thinking that.
Before we start, do not forget to support us by rating us 5 stars on Spotify, follow us on Twitter, at Casting Commons 1 for those most recent deck lists, and of course, do not forget to subscribe to us on YouTube. How are you doing?
Good. Yeah. I still haven't really played much. I've just been really busy.
Too busy on
I can't remember what I said last week. Did I say about building the? I said about building the cube last week.
Yep. You got new crack to give now. That's what you got to do. You got to find new crack.
I know. I guess we're planning on testing it this week, so that'll be an interesting first batch. I've been updating Pauper decks as well, in preparation for Nationals testing. Which I will miss most of, but I was just going to give either you or Aslan or Michael or someone all my decks and just be like, here you go if you need them. So I've got Mono Black, Rally Red, Terra, something else updated, and another 4 to do, so hopefully get that sorted before I go away. And then at least they're there. And then something will get banned and I'll come back and I won't have a deck, so...
Yeah, fair enough, really. I guess it's pretty interesting, right? Like, it is close. It's close to, we're not far away. We're still in limbo, but we're not far away until something happens. We got the meme of the poke bear.
It's definitely going to be the interesting one, and it's the episode that I'm not here for, so I'll be very sad to miss out on that. But hopefully you have some secret plans in the works to replace me.
I have some...
Temporarily.
That's it. You're going to not only come back to no deck, you're going to come back to no podcast. You've been replaced permanently. But no, in all seriousness, we do have some plans. I've got one guest, probably going to do all 3. Need to just cement some details. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. Pretty exciting. Be good. But more importantly, we have a Pauper Thought of the Week. Hopefully a sort of quickish one, because the challenges, as we mentioned, do look pretty spicy. Essentially, the Pauper Thought of this week is basically decks we want to see in air quotes come back, is the best way I could describe this. It's decks that are sort of like, just, they're not necessarily dead, but they're sort of like, don't see much play, or maybe even a strategy doesn't really see any play anymore. So it'd be pretty interesting to see some support or something to sort of make those come back.
I'd say there's a good argument for all these being dead.
Yeah.
Like, you could play them, but it's been a long time.
Exactly. Like, I have played 2 out of these 5 decks, right, on camera in semi-recent history within the space of, I'd say, 2 months, and they just felt bad. Is the best way I can describe these. Speaking of that, though, the first one on the list, which definitely would not be any make a return deck without if I didn't put it on this list, and that, of course, is Mogwarts, for sure. And I thought this one was actually more sort of achievable as well, because of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles set, the thingy-mabobby set that's coming out, the second set of the next year after Lorwyn. They've announced that there's I think it's called a mutagen token, I think it's called. And it's essentially like a sort of food map sort of esque token, but the token has 1 tap, target creature gets a +1/+1 counter, activate all needs a sorcery. So it's sort of like the explore half of a map token, but it always puts a counter on, which is
you have to sack it as well.
Yeah, you have to sack it as well. So it's like really interesting that it could also return, like make that return for persist sort of stuff. It did make me want to put Project X, which is like a really, really old school version of Mogwarts on, but I was like, well, at least got to modernize it somewhat, for sure. Yeah.
I guess, it'll be cool to see if that is relevant. Obviously, it's sort of worse, but sort of better than a map token, depending how much value, like, or what type of value you want to get out of your map token. Being sorcery speed is quite awkward, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know how often resetting the persist is like needed. I guess you would have more knowledge on that from playing a lot of Mogwarts over the years, but
it's one that is, it's not really necessary now, but that's because it's not really an option, if that makes sense. But you often get a cheat on mana with the, like, you could effectively, like, sack it to death and then unearth it is, like, more common play pattern you use. Or you can sort of save yourself, let it come back, and then people sort of let the guards down because it's got a -1/-1 counter on. They think, oh, it's okay, it's fine, it can't go off with this one. And then you can explore onto it, or you can sack it to unearth it to bring it back. So it does come up, the fact that you can, air quotes, reset it somehow. But obviously the explore side's very inconsistent, so it doesn't really come up that often because it can whiff, if you know what I mean. But I think with something that can permanently put it on, it definitely would be a play pattern that definitely comes up.
Yeah, in before there's just a deadly dispute that makes a mutagen token.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
The second deck is one, again, you could just play this now, but no one seems to, and there doesn't seem to really be any lists for it. Monstertron. I guess it's quite a wide deck name. Like, I would probably class the Mono Red Tron pretty close to this, with obviously its board parties and golems and stuff. But yeah, just essentially a Tron deck that ramps out big creatures. Just for some reason doesn't exist now. If people are playing Tron, it's to combo off. Essentially, it's either Flicker combo or Alter combo or Eggs combo. There isn't really a fair Tron deck doing the rounds.
Yeah, this is the second deck that I've played recently, and it was sort of, the best way I can describe it is Cascade Tron, almost, is another way of looking at it. But the idea was basically just cast big cascaders like the Maelstrom Colossus and such into Fangram Marauder and, you know, other big dumb dudes. And it just did feel pretty poor, right? And I think it probably could. All it needs is just a reasonable big dumb guy, right? Doesn't necessarily have to be colorless, but it does have to be probably not mana intensive, like not color intensive. Sorry.
It would be interesting if Maelstrom Colossus cost one less. If that would just be enough, like the fact it would cost 7 instead of 8.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a strange one because there was that period where Mono Red Tron really broke out, and it felt like pretty legit playing it. But then he just didn't have any longevity at all.
Yeah. It's a bit of a shame, right? Because when I first started properly getting into Pauper, like playing it on Magic Online, I guess, I went deep into, like, I would call it Monstertron, and it was basically just like Fangar Marauder, Muldrifter, sort of dudes, and your fire-bolted stuff was like, that was sort of the problem. It was like 5 color, cast big dumb creatures. Prophetic Prism, Chromatic Star, Firebolt, Rolling Thunder as well to sort of round things off. And it was just good classic Magic, right?
Yeah. It's like fair stuff Tron.
It's fair stuff, but it felt unfair at the same time when you were doing it. But now you do it and you're like, oh my god, I'm so far behind on every single axis. This is not good at all.
There was like the that Emerge variant as well for a while. I don't know if you remember that with is it Wretched Griff or something like that, like the Eldrazi with Emerge. It's just like a flying guy. Yeah, and again another one lost too soon. Hopefully it comes back.
Hopefully indeed. The next one is probably quite a beloved one, right? It's probably close up there like Tortex, which is probably another deck that was sort of missed off here, but Zubera Storm is a good one. Obviously, the reason we sort of put this on the list was like sort of a recent 5-0 from the Mono Black Sack, right? Where it featured 3 or 4 copies of the Black Zubera in that sort of Mezfiend slot. I think it was 3. Which is pretty interesting, right? Because it's a cool interaction with Supernatural Stamina where you can sacrifice it to make them discard 4 cards and stuff like that. But essentially, it's a really cool strategy that basically tries to loop 2 mana Zuberas of all different colours. The blue one draws cards, so you sort of keep drawing cards. and then the red one deals damage and the green one makes a bunch of 1/1s, so you can sort of sack them for value, or you can just make an army of 1/1 colourless spirits.
Don't forget the white one getting 2 life.
Oh, and the white one, the very playable one. But and then the black one obviously makes your opponent discard. So it's pretty interesting because you can have this sort of weird axis where you don't necessarily combo kill someone with the red one, like the Zubera decks of old. You can sort of just go, you have no hand, I have 7 cards, I have 8 1/1s, and that's sort of enough. But I don't know what it would need to sort of come back, but it's a pretty interesting deck that I would like to see come back as be reasonably played, right?
Yeah, it's a weird one. I guess for anyone who doesn't know, the Zuberas, or the common Zuberas anyway, are basically 2 mana 1/2s, which whenever they die, they have a effect that counts for how many Zuberas have died this turn. Is that right?
Yeah.
Or put into all graveyards as well, just in case your opponent also has this weird 2 mana creature from Kamigawa. The black one is obviously, it makes your opponent discard a card for how many have died. So in like mono black sack, where you can sack it and unearth it and sack it, or stamina it and sack it and it comes back and then you sack it again. It was quite an interesting like Mez Fiend role filler in that list. But yeah, it's definitely a combo deck that is missing. Obviously, Mogwart and Zubera Storm being 2 creature based combo decks that we've picked is maybe a little telling that creature based combo is on the down. But I think the Zubera combo deck probably got missed a bit with when we returned to Kamigawa, and they just didn't get any new cards. Like, they didn't get pushed forward. So, like, your combo pieces of these cards from, 2006 or whenever it was? 2004.
Cool.
So they've sort of been power crept quite a lot in the 21 years since they've been printed. It would be cool to see it back. It's a weird one where, because it's the specific creatures that it needs in play, and Pauper doesn't really have any like Corda Colin, Green Sun Zenith, Birth and Pod type effects to just like get either the one you want or just get more of them out. It's, I guess, probably a hard sell unless they just like print a load more. If they just printed a bunch of like 1-drop Zuberas, I could definitely see it coming back, because then you could just get that critical mass a lot easier.
You could maybe, I guess, if Lorwyn just has a good statted 1 or 2 mana changeling, I guess, that's sort of not necessarily combo orientated, but sort of is good on its own. I guess is another
a changeling that was also a sack outlet as well would probably be quite useful. Because it sort of fills both those roles of being able to let you sacrifice the Zuberas, which is basically what you want to do to get the dice triggers. But also being a Zubera itself, so it can then add to that stack.
Is it died this turn or put into the graveyard? It is died. Right, okay. I was going to say, because you could also have potentially, like, maybe even, like, I was thinking otherwise, if it was put into the graveyard, you could have, like, a supernatural stamina that's a changeling or whatever, or a shapeshifter.
If it's put into the graveyard, you just self-mill yourself, right? And then just find one and kill it. But I don't know. There's obviously the black one showing up in this mono black sack list means there is something still there with that effect. Obviously the black one in the shell that unearths and staminas and beckoners and sack stuff is essentially a perfect fit. But the other ones could, like, if you expanded the colours of that deck, like if it just went like black red, for example, the red one could slot in as well.
For those that don't know as well, for the league, which is quite important, I guess, because it shines with the staminas and the beckoners. Because the way the Zuberas are worded, it's a trigger. So you can stack the trigger so the stamina comes back. So it comes back first before the whatever effect. Say it's discard in the terms of the black one. You can put that on the stack first, then the stamina. The stamina resolves, so the guy comes back, and you sack it again before your first trigger resolves.
Yeah.
So then you get 2 instances of 2 triggers of target opponent discards cards equal number of Zuberas died, and that is 2 because it's died. The same one has died twice.
Yeah.
So they effectively discard 4, and if you reverse that with the blue one, you draw 4 or deal 4 or gain 4 1/1s or whatever it is. So it is still like, even though as we're saying there, it's been power crept out, right?
It's a powerful effect for sure.
That stamina interaction is actually really strong. Yeah. It's just, it probably needs something that probably is more Zuberas, right? Which makes it less likely to come back. But
yeah, I think obviously the big thing the black one gained is, well, mono black sack being more relevant now, but also Beckoner, like Perigi Beckoner is basically the perfect card for doing this type of thing, and it then slotted into the perfect deck to support this card. So yeah, it'll be a cool one to see come back, but I think the actual full combo deck in itself is probably a bridge too far, but I definitely think we could see them show up more like this black one has.
Yeah, definitely.
The second deck I chose, but fourth deck, I guess, is more like an archetype, I guess, of decks, because the card probably is never coming back. And it's all that glitters style decks. I did think the Lux Knight Breacher might be sort of a bit of a resurrection of this in a blue-white glitters shell, but run a Breacher instead. But the 4 mana no evasion is not cracked up to much in Pauper nowadays, unfortunately.
Nope.
But yeah, basically a cheap artifact Springleaf Drum Ornithopter deck that has an actual threat, as opposed to just, I'm going to chip you to death with Moon Circuit Hacker.
Yeah, so I guess it is just like an aggressive like Ornithopter deck is what you sort of alluding to. So it doesn't necessarily need to be like put a big enchantment on something. It could just be maybe aggressively slanted affinity, more like aggro costed creatures.
Yeah.
Also,
I think even just an aggressive affinity deck, to be fair, also fits the bill, because it's so controlling and grindy and mid-range now, like the affinity, like Grixis and even the Esper version that we've seen recently. They're just like ultimate grind piles, where the affinity of old was pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
With like Carapace Forgers, and then obviously the All the Glitters era as well.
But what do you think you would need for that to come back, though? Just an aggressive...
All the Glitters are must. I don't know. I guess there's the 4 mana uncommon that has, is it a X3 flyer, and it has power equal to the number of artifacts. Something like that downshifted. Although it's in the Lux Knight Breacher sort of, it's 4 mana, but it's got evasion. That one's blue as well, so it's sort of better as well. But something like that, like a Cranial Plane-ish guy, but obviously costed more, so it's not broken or not an equipment. Like a 3 mana flying guy like that would probably be more than enough, I would have guessed. But
pretty interesting. Like, as the aggressive sort of affinity decks do seem pretty interesting, because they obviously do have like a lot of weak points to them, right? They've obviously you can usually die to like mass removal, like breath weapon and stuff. They still get hit by dust to dust and all that sort of stuff. So, but they are just missing, right? Is the sad truth at the moment, which it'd be cool to see Frogmite C play again, right? Is the main thing. Frogmite on.
I think obviously the big thing that put Glitters over the edge was it was just immediate. Like, you play the Glitters and then you can attack. So if you're playing more into these type of, you play a guy that's got the big power. It's not an equipment, you can't move it. Like, they've got time to respond. Removal spells work. Yeah, I don't know. Might be interesting. I can't remember what that card's called, but it's like 2 blue for
I think I know.
a 3 flyer.
Yeah, it's like a weird Vidalcan thing or something in it.
Yeah.
Looks like Somber Hoverguard from my memory.
More Somber Hoverguards. If Somber Hoverguard got downshifted to Artifact.
Yeah, that too.
Chairman.
The final one is White X Evoke, right? So we do obviously have like FAMs is sort of thing, but I'm more thinking like the blue-white Snapbolt deck that was Angelic Renewal, or there was the
I was thinking Angelic Renewal, like.
Yeah, the Angelic Renewal Evoke sort of style decks. Like it ran, there was the black-white one as well that run Mornwelk that try to like rip your opponent's hand apart as well, which was really cool. And that sort of decks just fell off the map, obviously due to power level or whatever. But Lorwyn's on its way back, right, with Evoke coming in. So it'd be interesting to see if that could rejuvenate it.
Shriekmaw downshift.
Oof. Don't tempt me. Oh.
We'll have grief in Pauper as well, don't worry. Shriekmaw, you guy. Bring back Shriekmaw.
Oh, that sounds awesome. I don't care. I don't care if the formats are miserable. I just want to flick a Shriekmaw.
It's definitely a cool archetype. It's one of the ones that stands out to me, I guess, from you, like first starting your channel. The Soul of the Harvest style Angelic Renewal piles.
Yeah.
Always reminds me of like those earlier videos.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you are right. I think it's literally just the threat is not good enough. I think Angelic Renewal is probably still pretty playable if you have Muldrifter plus other threat that is good. But yeah, Soul of the Harvest just 4 mana is too slow and clunky.
4 mana make 2 1/1s, not very good.
Yeah.
Especially when Murmur Mystics in the field of like 61 ones and yours is like, oh no, my 2 1/1s.
But yeah, I think if there was a good threat at common with Evoke, obviously, it could be, definitely could come back. Shriekmaw was sort of like a joke, but something like that might actually fit pretty well.
I don't think, like, I've tried, like, the red one, the one red, when it leaves, deals 6 damage. Like, that's close. If it just did it when it enters, it'd be fine. It probably would be pretty, like, really, like, you'd go white-red, 1 red, 6 damage to a guy is pretty good. Comes back, 6 damage to a guy.
Yeah.
I'd take that. The fact that
it's only getting it once.
Only getting it once is pretty
And
miserable.
it's a 6/1 as well, so it's so easy to die,
Yeah. But yeah. Definitely pretty cool. And I do like to revisit those decks and then I play them and I'm like, no, why are you so bad? But yeah. Pretty fun. They're pretty fun archetypes for sure.
Yeah, it was quite a hard topic, to be fair, this to pick decks for, because of basically all formats, Pauper has some of the like longest serving, I guess, decks. Like stuff just doesn't really die that often. You look back at like past events, you like scroll back to like 2016 and there's still just like Mono Blue Fair, Borgles, Affinity, Boros, like they're all just still there.
But to be fair though, even these decks, right, bar the All That Glitters, because All That Glitters has been banned.
Yeah.
Blue White Evoke generally was like Snapbolt sort of thing and that's kind of gone. The other 3 decks, like Monstertron, Mogwart, and Zuberastorm, you could probably still play. Like, I would not be surprised if you check Brian Cook's videos. He probably played Zuberastorm probably not so long ago. And Mogwart and Monstertron are still decks. Like, it was like only like 2-3 months ago, right? Did Hamuda play Mogwart and top 8 a challenge?
Yeah, you played it by accident, didn't
he played it by accident.
The wrong deck.
And he clicked the wrong deck, you know? And then, like, Monstertron does exist. It's like in this weird cascade form. It's not very good, but it does exist. And these decks, like Slivers doesn't really exist, but people still pick it up and play it.
Yeah.
Like, but they're just not popular or not really good. But they do exist. Because nothing really dies as such in Pauper, or they're just sort of, there's so much stuff to play, people play other things and play things that win. So, yeah. It's pretty cool. It was cool to, like, think back to me for this. For sure.
Reminisce on the Pauper decks of old.
Yes, very much so. Anything else?
No, I'm happy to move on.
So, we have added some new tournaments that have been mentioned in the Discord. Obviously, a great way to obviously keep up to date with these. You can join the Discord, and you can see these for yourself, of course. We've took off the ones that did fire last week. We had the one in Leipzig as well. Had 120 players out of the 128, and I think was won by, I think, Jeskai Ephemerate, I think, off the top of my head. Had some pretty cool decks. I will put that tournament result in the description below, but it is in the Discord if you do want to check it out. But anyways, PauperParty, 8th of November. That's not next weekend. That's weekend after. In the Black Forest region in Germany, I believe. The link will be in the description below. I've just came to the conclusion that basically all our tournaments are either in England or Germany. Apart from this one that's in America, but still, it's besides the point. And then the next one, Pauper Spezl 2 in Munich, 22nd of November, 64-player cap. This is the one with the beautiful wooden tokens. Check them out, please, because it's going to be cool to see, and I just want to see all these people with beautiful tokens. So if you do go, send me pictures of these lovely tokens, because they look pretty incredible. The link is in the description. And then the 22nd of November as well, RIW Pauper Championship. It is in Michigan. The link is in the description. They're also doing, I think they're doing like an invitational as well, but that's all in the link and also in the Discord, so you can check that out. Then the big one, Nationals UK. Woo! Excited?
Yeah.
Excited? Good?
Yeah, well, let's see. Wait for this announcement and then we'll see.
29th of November at Secret Space in Birmingham. £40 ticket, 210 player cap. We are almost two-thirds sold out, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, solid.
Absolute mega event. We are absolute on a tear if the UK, as a representative of the UK, if I say so myself, smashing it. So it'll be a pretty good event. So please, if you are in the area and considering it, just buy a ticket. Just buy a ticket. Do it. Do it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's no news, because we had our yearly news, which was last week, that we're getting an update of an update.
Yearly news.
Do you like it? Sad. I know. So let's talk challenges.
Yeah. Some pretty interesting ones this week, to be fair. Friday the 24th had 55 players. So again, another really good showing for a Friday. I feel like the Fridays and the Sundays are just like retaining, but also getting stronger, while the Saturdays just sort of the weak middle child. But the first place, Green Red Ramp. Second place, Black Red Madness. Third and fourth, both Blue Black Fair. Fifth was High Tide. Sixth was Boros Bully. Seventh was Grix Finney, and eighth was Mono Red Madness. And then the two near misses, ninth was FAMS, and 10th was another copy of Green Red Ramp. So quite a bit actually to dive into on this one. I guess Green Red Ramp is probably a good place to start in first.
Yeah.
It was actual ramp, it wasn't Ponza. Spell wise, it was pretty light. It wasn't trying to do any lead the stampede type stuff. Had only 3 ram through and 2 malevolent rumble. I feel like this rumble number is like slowly getting lower and lower in these Green Red Ramp lists. Like, it started as just a 4 of, like stock 4 of in every list. Then it was a 3 of. Now it's a 2 of.
I don't even think the 2 of is correct though, right?
Is it going to be a 1 of next?
I don't like. I feel like it should probably just be 4 ram through and then 1 extra creature.
Yeah,
right.
I could see that.
But like, I guess it needs some form of card selection. I guess, but like, why?
Does it?
I don't know. Does it? But
you draw a card every turn.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it does, but it seems odd. I guess it's just a good way of growing Chrysalis, but
yeah, it's sort of free. Like, it's the best case for it really is if you don't have a ramp spell on 1, and if you just like play this on 2. But if that's your best case, like your best case is your deck's not functioning. Like, is that where you want to be? Would you rather not just have an extra wild growth as well and make sure you've got that ramp spell on 1?
Oh, I didn't even realize they were only on 7. I literally assumed they were on 4 and 4.
No, it's 7.
So yeah, it definitely should just be another ram through, right, and a wild growth.
Maybe, maybe.
But I'm not really a big fan of the 2 rumbles. It seems very odd. Like, as you say, you definitely just want to have 1, 3, 5 is like your curve, right? That's kind of what you want.
Creature-wise, it's pretty set. The only real flexes is 2 Saga Wildlings and 2 Nyxborn Hydras. Everything else is a 4 of 4 Avenging Hunter, 4 Krushok. Bottom part is the 8 3-drops, the Chrysalis and the Arbor Elves. Sideboard-wise, it's pretty normal. Like, I feel like often we see these Green Red Ramps try and stuff like weird-ass stuff in the sideboard. But both these lists are just pretty basic. They're very similar lists. Just jumping to the 10th place one, the main difference is those 2 Malevolent Rumbles are gone, and there's just 2 Leader Stampedes in the place. And I believe they've also cut a Jewel Thief and a Nyxborn Hydra to fit 2 Evo Witnesses in the main as well, which I quite like.
I'm a big fan of Evo Witness in this deck, right? It's a good, as we've discussed many times on the channel, like it's a good mana sink for Khrushchev, right?
Yeah. And just value, like it's a good top deck. You've got 8 mana and you top deck a 3-drop. That's the 3-drop you want to top deck, because you top deck it, activate it, get something else back and play that as well.
I don't know how much I like the idea of cutting a Jewel Thief for it though, but I do like the addition of the Evo Witness. I'm unsure on PauperParty. I don't know. I thought we were sort of past the days of rolling dice and just, here's my Riven Chrysalis, my big bombs, and I'm going to kill you anyways. But I guess a 6/3 with haste is still fine. Yeah.
I think the dice rolling sort of lessened a lot of late, and especially in this list with no rumbles, like you're hitting leads, like lead's going to be really good off a bottom party anyway. It's also gone down to just 1 Hydra, so it's like a lot less likely to just whiff on a Hydra. You have still got your 7 enchantments and your 4 Arbor Elves, which are bad, but basically everything else is probably good. I guess ram through if you've only got the bottom party is not good, but it's definitely gone a lot more out of its way to make the bottom party look better. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's really good showing for Green Red Ram, right? I think I do prefer probably the 10th place list than the first place list, but
it's cool to see like how these Green Red Ram decks have shifted so much as well. Like there's no Ents, there's no Oliphant, there's no dual lands in them anymore. Despite sort of at first glance, it's just a normal Green Red Ram list. Like they've changed a lot in 4 months since basically like Dragons of Tarkir or whatever.
Yeah. Which is pretty interesting, right? Because I definitely wouldn't have thought Sagu would have replaced Ent, but when you think about it, it does a lot for the deck.
It's also just not fully replaced it either. There's only 2.
Yeah.
Like they're just, for the most part, just cut the 1 mana cyclers.
So, but yeah, very interesting.
Yeah. Moving on to the other deck that has 2 copies, the 2 blue-black Fae lists, Bako and Bath, so both very strong pilots, moto grinders, etc. Both on very similar lists. There are some differences. I believe Bako's slightly more ninja heavy, right? Or ninja of the deep hours heavy. He doesn't have the moon circuit, where Bath has the one of moon circuit Arcastil. Other than that, they're basically the same, right?
Yeah, Bath's got an extra angler, I guess. For what? I have no idea.
Okay, yeah, it's 2.
Yeah. Got an extra angler for a Chainer's Edict in Bako's list, right?
Yeah.
Which is, these are like minimal changes. They're just like small percentage points against probably certain decks that the both think's going to be relevant.
Quite cool to see Blue Black Fae come back though. Again, it's one of those decks that sort of just disappeared for the longest time, but seems to be having quite a good resurgence at the moment.
I don't know if it is. I don't know, because this was for reference. This was also discussed in the FAMS Discord, right? I believe about basically why is it? What's the reason for its return? And ultimately, I don't.
The deck was never actually bad.
Yeah, and
people just stopped playing it.
I exactly do think it's that the deck was never bad. It's just people literally stopped playing it and decided to play something else. It's probably the core gate issue, which will also come on later on, because like the deck's still cracked, right? Same with probably Jeskai Ephemerate. Just there's that many good mid-range control decks, you can't play them all.
I think this got a lot of the snuff out. Everyone just like looked down on snuff out and just like, oh, this guy's not good anymore. So it sort of got a bit of the backlash of, oh, people aren't playing snuff out. Snuff out's one of the best cards in this deck. Maybe this deck's not good. Whereas like Snuff Out is still just good. It's just not as necessary, but this deck utilizes it much better than any other deck.
Yeah.
So it's just didn't really change.
I think it's a really, really good point I never really thought of. It's very much like Snuff Out. When Glee went, right, or Glee Combo went, it was very much, oh, Snuff Out's bad now. But when you actually think about it, it's not that Snuff Out's bad. It's just not, you need it.
Necessary.
Yeah. It's not a fundamental, I must submit this card in my deck. Let's play Mono Blue Fair now. Yeah. So it's pretty interesting, right? Because it is still a very, very cracked card, right? 0 mana killer creature is very, very good. And as you said, this deck definitely is one of the better Snuff Out decks.
In a format with very, very few 0 mana spells.
Yeah. That's an incredibly good point. Sure. I never even thought of it. Never even entered my brain. It was a pretty cool one.
And the final deck that I wanted to touch on is the 6th place Boros list. Which, again, talking of decks we haven't seen in a long time, it's the Boros Bully or Boros Tokens with the Battle Screech and Rally the Peasants sort of shell, I guess. For anyone who hasn't seen these decks before, it's basically just a lot of 1-drop creatures and Squadron Hawks, and then a lot of like looting effects, so 4 Faithless Looting, 4 Thrilling Discovery, and then Battle Screeches, Rally the Peasants, Prismatic Strands to chuck in the bin, and some Lightning Bolts to fill in the curve, I guess. Too good not to play.
I've come to the conclusion that this person is a listener, right? This is the conclusion I've come to. This person is a listener, so hello. Thank you for listening to the podcast. This is how sure I am of it. They listened to our multicolored conversation. They were like, oh, Thrilling Discovery? I remember that card. I'm going to play that card. And that is exactly why they've played this, and that is exactly why they're in the top 8. So, that is cool. But, actually, in all seriousness about this deck, I think this deck is always been good, and, you know, it's just not really played that often. I don't think there's much really changed. The thing that does interest me, however, is the creature package that they've led to, right? So
it's white weenie, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very... But like Boros Rally or Boros Bully or whatever you want to call it with like these spells and the thrill, they're usually very heavy on like Seeker of the Way or Core Skyfisher for value. Yeah. They've also ran the Rafine's Informant as well as like extra looting in the past. They've got none of that. It's literally just 4 Lunarch Veteran, 8 Inspectors, and then 4 Squadron Hawks as their actual creatures. Then they've got 4 Battle Screeches as well. Which is really interesting.
Yeah, it's a cool one. It's definitely very set on my 8 looting effects will be, this is where I'm getting my card advantage. And I guess the Squadron Hawks, like, utilizing these is the most important thing. I don't need to be doing any Skyfisher synth. Skyfisher, like, even just like Thraben and reset shenanigans. Like, I don't need that. I'm just going to loot my spells away, flash them back, and attack as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the Seeker is sort of a bit of a miss, but I think the way this is set up as well, you just basically want to play as many 1-drops as fast as you can.
Very much so. It's pretty cool. Glad they had success, right? I imagine the aerial force of Veteran Squadron Hawk on 1/1's definitely got it done more than the Inspectors, but there are 1/2 that gives you a lot of card advantage to refresh your Faithless Looting, Thrill, and Discovery hands.
Yeah,
pretty sweet.
Sideboard-wise is, I guess, fairly stock for a red-white deck, other than there's 3 Martyr of Sands, which is a cool one. We keep seeing these like different Martyrs popping up in sideboards, and I just think it's quite cool to see different decks playing them. Sands is obviously the white one that gains life. Also 2 Remorsian Rallies, which I'm assuming is like, I don't know, Electricity protection maybe? Or End the Festivities protection?
Yeah, I'd say like anti-dart, electric End of Festivities is probably where I would see that, right?
Yeah, like although you've got the 8 Inspectors, you're pretty reliant on the Hawks, the Screeches, and the Veterans. And
they're playing Rally the Peasants, right? Not Guardian's Pledge, so
yeah,
these things obviously are just 3/1s and not 3/3s. It kind of matters.
Yeah. Were there any other decks from this challenge that you wanted to touch on?
Not particular. I did just want to mention the fact that the Red Black Madness does not have Weck doing.
Yeah.
Yet again, just a week behind.
It's a Weck Dawn.
It's a Weck Dawn deck.
Yeah. Moving on to the Saturday, the middle child, only 47 players. Still, that's not actually that bad for Saturday, to be fair. I'm bragging on it, but just more that the others were really good. First place, Mono Blue Terror. Second place, Spy Walls. Third place, Colgates. Fourth place, Black Red Madness. Fifth place, Jund Wildfire. Sixth place, Mono Blue Terror. Seventh place, Gardens. And eighth place, Jund Wildfire. And then the two near misses, ninth was Black Red Madness, and 10th was another copy of Mono Blue Terror. I guess the Saturday is where the format just turned back to normal. Compared to the Friday, like there was no Jund Wildfire, there was no Terror at all on Friday. And now the Terror and the Jund Wildfire have just been like, actually, we're still part of this format, don't worry.
I guess the only thing for me is they did have Colgate, right? But it also doesn't really count because it is Masioc, right? The only person on Magic Online that's playing Colgates. And
it still counts.
It still counts, I guess. Yeah, sure. He's a very good pilot, for sure. So, and definitely showcasing that this deck is still cracked.
Yeah. There was a few like tweaks, I guess, to the list. There's a main deck Envelop, which we were talking about the other day. Like Envelop seems to be coming up quite a bit right now.
Did he have Enveloping last week?
Maybe. I more just mean from like normal Colgates.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, I think from my understanding, the 2-1 split is very much a Masioc sort of special. I've yet to understand why, but but as you say, Envelop's popping off that much that maybe it can be a main deck card. I don't know if it's sort of on the level of competing with Dispel and Spell Pierce sort of slots, but
it's also 61 cards, this list as well. Now,
that I am unsure on.
Other than that, like, there's not too much standout. It's on the 11 creatures, so the 4 Hawks, the 4 Cats, a couple of Medics, and then a 1-of Guild Pact. And then, yeah, pretty much as you expect, 8 enchantments with the Journeys and the Modern Ages. Brainstorms, Counterspells, Prismatic Strands, Lorians, and then a couple of Thraben Charms and a couple of Dispels to fill out the extra slots.
Same old Colgates.
The Black Red Madness also does not have Weck doing. It is another Weck Dawn. But the more interesting list to me was the second place Spy Walls, which has gone a lot more Spy and a lot less Walls. With 4 Lotus Petal, only 4 lands, and then the 1-of Acorn Harvest to go in with the Spy package. Still got all the like overgrown battlements and stuff. There's a 1-of Axebane Guardian as well,
just in case.
But it seemed like it wants to go a lot faster.
Yeah, I like the variation on it if you are trying to spy, right? Like obviously 4 petals, 1 harvest are very real. I do probably think like even a Tinderwall would probably be better than that Axebane. That 1-of Axebane seems so random.
Or another Wall of Roots. There's only 3 Wall of Roots, I guess.
Or another Wall of Roots. Like anything but the Axebane, right?
Axebane hater number 1 here.
It's got a time and a place, but this is not the deck, right?
Outside of those, there wasn't too much interesting. The Gardens was a Campfire Gardens. The whole Crypt Rat, a couple of Troublemaker oofs in the main as well. Anything else you wanted to touch on from this one?
Just a couple. So the Mr. Twins Mono Blue Terror in 6th was playing 4/4 Spike, probably similar to the Illuminati list, I would imagine. I have not confirmed that. With an Artful Dodge as well, which is pretty cool to see. Just to mention that. And the 5th place Jund Wildfire was running 3 Rumbles, so it's like quite an old schoolish list.
Yeah.
And I was very sad on the pilot's name was called Spike You and not playing Lava Spike.
No Hydras as well, just 4 Chrysalis, 4 Familiars, and 3 Shamans.
But
Interesting.
other than that, is about as exciting as Jund Wildfire gets.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Moving on to the Sunday, the best challenge. The Sunday the 26th, 63 players. So once again, we're getting pretty close to the 64 magic number. First place, FAMS. Second place, Green Red Ramp, back again. Third place, Black Red Madness. Fourth place, Mono Blue Terror. Fifth place, Poison Storm, out of nowhere. Sixth place, Grixfinity. Seventh, Black Red Madness. And eighth, Mono Red Sly. And then the two near misses, ninth was Jund Wildfire, and 10th was another copy of Green Red Ramp. Sunday delivering again. I guess before we touch on probably starting with the Green Red Ramp, Black Red Madness is like low-key just sneakily everywhere. Like we haven't really touched on it other than saying there's no vectors, but it was second on the Friday. It was fourth on the Saturday and ninth on the Saturday. And then it was third on the Sunday and seventh on the Sunday. So for a deck that I feel like a lot of people sort of brush it off as the second aggro deck to like the red variants maybe. It is really performing very well. Throwing that out there.
Yeah, I feel like Madness is like Red Black Madness is always a solid deck, right? And it's always how do I put this across? I always feel like it's a less polarizing aggro deck. So like Mono Red Madness and Rally Red, I'll have more polarizing matchups, but the good matchups are better than what Red Black Madness is good matchups are, if that makes sense. So it's like
it just sort of has loads of fine matchups.
Yeah, it's
no really good matchups and not that many really bad matchups.
Yeah, is probably how I feel about this deck. Like it's almost enemies itself, right? It can be quite clunky in some places, but other than that, it generally is a fine deck, right? It can put on a clock out of nowhere. It can go long, all that sort of stuff. So I just think it is a powerful choice, right? That definitely gets overlooked and bashed a lot for no reason.
Yeah, I think it gained quite a lot when it moved away from the artifact build. Like, it lost a lot of the clunkiness of, like, needing, like, artifact lands to start with, I guess, and Goblin Tomb Raiders and Gall Blasts, like, having to enable them, like, getting rid of it all. It lost a lot of that clunkiness and just seemed to have just become more consistent. It's just, number one consistent deck, basically.
Yeah, big fan.
I lied. I was going to start with the ramp, but I'm actually going to start with Campo's first place FAMS list, because it's quite interesting.
Also, the boys back.
Yeah, Campo back on top, and playing the old school Sage Road Denizen in the main for that quick kill. No need to be flickering forever.
I've basically came to a conclusion. This is probably because they've played other formats for quite a while, right? So they've played like a lot of standards of late and stuff like that.
The muscle memory's gone.
Yeah, so it's basically that they probably can't compete with the clicking, is probably my guess. And it's just, that would be my thought, right? Because Sage Road Denizen's a card that's old school tech for like Magic Online clocks and stuff, but it's never necessary, right? Like if you're comfortable clicking, like there's no need for it.
I guess it depends how much you value your own time. I feel like a lot of people that play these decks on Magic Online just do not value their own time. Like the people that play the black-green fog deck with Crypt Rats.
Yeah.
Like they fully just do not value their own time. But this is the FAMS list for someone who values their own time. He wants to get the game finished. So he can go and have a drink, he can go and get something to eat, and then he can sit down and he's not the last player in the round every single round. Yeah, I like it. Outside of that, there's not too much standout. There's a one-off foil, which was also in the FAMS list on Friday.
Yeah, I think it was Campo as well, right? In 10th.
Okay, we just missed him. Oh yeah, he was in 9th.
9th, sorry. Yeah.
Which is a cool one to see back. Obviously, foil's one of the rare free spells that we get in Pauper, which is pretty cool. Outside of that, sort of looks like pretty stock FAMS to me. I don't know if there's anything stands out to you.
Just touching on the values, your own time and slow clicking. Just going back to this. The 9th place on Friday, Campo's list, had a one-off Murmuring Mystic in the deck.
Yeah. What values is on time?
On the Sunday, that is now no longer in the main deck, and there is a Sage Row Denizen in the main deck.
It was finding out which one actually kills faster, that's why.
But going back to the first place list that they did, yeah, it's fairly stock, right?
They're on. It's not the Meeting of Minds one, is it? It's the normal version,
the modern age deep analysis version, just for that max card value. Yeah, there's nothing too. It's more old school-ish, which makes sense, right? Campo's obviously not played Vamps for quite a while, and is on 2 prohibits, 1 foil, and a prismatic strands, which is more commonly now like 1 or 2 prohibits, what should be a glorious gale, and negate is the usual right sort of lists. But I guess also when you've got modern age deep analysis, it does take up more cards, like 3 or 4 Meeting of Minds.
Yeah. I guess it sort of ties back to what we were saying at the start of the episode, where like Campo hasn't played Pauper in quite a while, and then just comes back and plays the Pauper list that they played 12 months ago, and it's still fine.
Yep.
Because I don't think basically anything in this FAMS list is new, right? It's all just like, what, Perilous Landscape, is that the newest card?
Yeah, that and Thraben Charm probably. And the 2 newest cards, the 1 Thraben Charm in the sideboard.
Exactly. Yeah. Sweet.
Definitely sweet.
The red-green ramp list, I believe, was just the same as the winning list.
Yeah, it's same pilot.
On the Friday. Same pilot as well, nice. So double top 8s for red-green with the same pilot is pretty sick. Outside of that, I guess Poison Storm is one for you.
Yeah, it's cool to see, obviously. I would assume my thoughts would go to it's probably a Kali variation. It could be based on the Reyna variation, right, of old with Manamorphos and Thurston Roots. So it could just be based on that. It's nothing too out of the ordinary, right? It's the prologue. So it's got 3 prologues and 4 infectious inquiries, which is quite high for most common Poison Storms as of late, right?
Yeah, the prologues usually get cut down, right?
Mm-hmm. Which is pretty interesting, but again, it's probably someone that values their own time and doesn't want to spend most of the game trying to find the startup inquiry.
I guess from my point of view as a Poison Storm newbie, for Thurston Roots, is that now like pretty stock? I know it wasn't to start with.
It was a weird, when it first started, like Poison Storm first came about, Thurston Roots was like a 4 of, and then it basically went to a 0 of, because no one really liked it and they wanted better mana and all that sort of stuff. And then it sort of slowly started coming back as a 4 of, was how I would say it. So like when I played it at Paupergeddon, when was that, like last year now? March. Oh my god, was it really that? It feels like a lifetime ago. But yeah, when I played it in March, Thurston Roots was like not really played in the like mainstream lists. But Thurston Roots basically gives you worse. How do I say it? It gives you a worse longer game but faster clock.
Yeah.
Right. Because you just speed, like usually if you have a Pentaprism, it's mana neutral. If you have 2, it's mana positive, which is quite rare having 2 because most of the time it's mana neutral for that. So you do eventually run out of mana with the steady progresses and the inquiries, where Thurston Roots really does let you accelerate that turn on 1. Like if you have 2 or 3 Pentaprisms, you get turned into a dark ritual almost. Which is pretty cool.
And then the Manamorphos, like they're just a street ref essentially that fixes your mana and adds to Storm count.
Yeah, pretty much. Which is
obviously
cool.
It's got the red cards in the sideboard and basically 2 Sandstone Needles, 1 Mountain, and the Prisms to try and cast them. So I guess the fixing's probably helpful there.
I do find the Mountain quite interesting in the main, right? So there's no real reason for it. But
The person.
No, I get, like, obviously you can search for it with the mountain, but there's nothing to cast, right?
It would just be sideboard cards.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You've got nothing to cast for it in the main. Like, sometimes they've run, like, Sandstone Needles in the main and then ran a one-of Breath Weapon.
Mm.
And that's sort of to help against, like, Rally Red and such. But here they've got the mountain still in the main and then just not put any red cards really in the main. So it's kind of interesting. I'm guessing it's probably they just want that extra sideboard slot. Which I guess obviously...
I'd be interested to see if the mountain is even... Like, I guess it ups the red pips quite a lot because it means the 4 first and roots also get red. But with 4 Prism, 4 Manamorphos, you've got 2 Sandstone Needles as well. Like, for you, some sideboard cards that don't all come in. I don't think they would ever all come in together with Pyroblasts and Breath Weapons. Like, do you need that much red?
No, to be honest, I'd probably keep a mountain and probably cut a needle, right? Is probably where I would put it. Like, because when I played a list that ran, I think, 1 or 2 Breath Weapons in the main and ran 1 or 2 needles, and I really hated the needles. Like, it's just a colourless, like, Karoo land at that point. Like, because you're never really casting anything that you want. Like, obviously,
I think they're coming in tapped as well in a sideboarded game is always quite awkward. You're like, oh, I've got my Breath Weapon, my land comes in tapped, I can't cast it.
Yeah. So I probably would even maybe go as far as cut both needles and just keep the 1 mountain in the main, and then just add something else, like maybe even another island.
Or you could go for peat bugs as well. Yeah, there's only 2 peat bugs,
which again is another interesting thing, I guess. But
it's one again. It's sort of offset, I guess, by the Manamorphos, so you can go maybe harder on the green and the red because you've got the Manamorphos to bail you out on the black, maybe. Because it is basically just Inquiry, right? Is the only black card. There's none in the side either.
Yeah, but you also, like, I guess obviously the Peat Bog Needle slot, right, is you do want an off-coloured, off-blue, off-green sort of land to maximise Prism is generally the big thing, right? Because you don't want to go scary, because then your Pentaprism's really awkward. So, like, having max depletion lands is usually pretty good. So I guess, like, I think you're probably right. If you are going to cut needles, probably do go up to Peat Bogs, because you do want to go one colour, then another colour, to then go Pentaprism sort of stack going off. Is like a big thing to do on that turn. But yeah, this list looks really cool. I really like the idea of this list. It looks a lot faster with the Thurston Roots and the Manamorphos, which is always great, because you do, and obviously the 7 poison effects, because you do end up finding yourself wishy-washing around quite a lot of doing nothing with your turn. You cast about 17 spells, but do absolutely jack shit with it. Like, that's a very common thing with the four increase sort of game plan. But yeah, so I do kind of like this. And I do like the 6 artifacts as well, because Chalice does, in post-board games, you often get like artifact hated out. So Chalice is always a good, easy cut for sideboard cards. So it's pretty nice to easily cut them, but they do let you go absolutely bonkers game 1 when there's no hate, which is pretty nice. Pretty sweet.
Moving on to another pretty interesting list, the 8th place Mono Red Fly list. Is what we've gone with, calling it, because it doesn't really fit any of the current Mono Red list. It's basically just a super 1-drop creature heavy list. There's no rallies, there's no range resolves, there's no pingers, there's no fire blasts. It's just a bunch of the best 1-drop creatures with Percussionist, Bushwhacker, Tomb Raider, Epicure, and then 4 Lackey, Reckless Lackey as well. It's also got 3 Ginger Brutes and 2 Gold Hounds, which is a 1-mana 1/1 with First Strike and Menace that is also a treasure, so you can sack it for mana. And then to sort of complement all those creatures, it has 4 Inventor's Axe, which we touched on last week. And then sort of rounds it out with a suite of Burn with 4 Gall Blasts, 4 Bolts, 1 Improvised Club, and then 4 Experimental Synths for some card advantage.
There's only, 6 2-drops in this deck? Everything else costs 1, right?
Yeah.
Like literally, the one improvised club in the main is the only 2-drop, which is good information to know with synth, right? Like
it's getting to like the cold author levels of I know everything in my deck costs 1. I can basically just synth on extern for free. Like I don't have to worry about whiffing.
Yep, which is a strong thing.
Yeah, I guess this sort of looks the closest to cold author we've maybe got. In terms of like the mana curve wise, obviously Rally can do the whole rally bushwhacker sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that everything in the main costs 1 except this one improvised club is very cold author-esque.
The other thing for me, which is quite cool, is obviously they've maxed out on Inventor's Axe, but they've also went quite heavily on quite a few first strike creatures, right? With the Gold Hound and the Reckless Lackey.
Yeah.
Which adds like sort of like a weird, not only does your Inventor's Axe become like this weird shock, it also becomes this sort of like decent-ish removal spell. Which
also
is
pretty good on Ginger Brutes as well, and just making them unblockable.
Yeah.
Means obviously you can only re-equip it once with the 2 energy, but if it's on a Ginger Brute, that's just make him unblockable attack, untap, make him unblockable attack, like you're getting that value.
What's your thoughts on this list? As the red aficionado of this podcast?
It's cool. I do like it. I think I'm not sure on the Gold Hounds. I'm not like convinced that the 1 mana 1/1 doesn't have haste. Doesn't really give you any value unless you lose it. I guess it's trying to be like an Epicure-esque, like it's a 1 mana guy that gives you an artifact that's sort of valuable. Like I don't think it really fits that role very well. I'd be tempted to cut those, and I think honestly cutting the improvised club as well and just going full 1-drops would probably be the way I would take it. I would maybe go up on a Ginger Brute and then maybe a couple Chain Lightnings or something like that, to still have the reach but not have any 2-drops would be probably where I would go.
Would there be other 1-drops you consider? Is there like some goblins that were missing that you used to have seen play, or maybe like Masked Meower or something?
Yeah, probably. There's obviously Blast Runner. But I don't think you're anywhere near really sacrificing enough stuff. You've got the Simps, but you've got no real way to sacrifice them other than paying mana. You've got the Bloods, which is always solid. You've got the Reckless Lackeys, but again, like it's so expensive to sack. I just don't think you're really set up for something like Blast Runner. I don't know. The Mask Meower's sort of interesting, but again, I think it's just it would definitely be the worst out of all the creatures you've got left. It'd be interesting to see how, like, it's getting pretty close to being able to be viable to play Goblin Grenade, right? You've got 4 Bushwhacker, 4 Tomb Raider, 4 Lackey. If there is another sort of 1 mana Goblin, like a Blast Runner, I guess, that fits, you could cut Gold Hounds and maybe Ginger Brutes for a Goblin, and then play Gobbo Grenades instead of Club, and that sort of kills 2 birds with 1 stone. You still get the big 1 mana burn effect, but it costs 1 mana now instead of 2.
But you could play, isn't there that Reckless Abaddon? Is that the card? Is that sort of like a Goblin Grenade that sacks a creature? Is that it? What?
Reckless Abandon.
Yeah,
the 1 mana sack deal 4, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's not the worst.
But it is a sorcery, is the only downside.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I do like this list. I think the biggest thing it's missing is 4 copies of Kuldotha Rebirth, to be honest. But it's cool to see like the fully like 1-drop Sly style list make a bit of a comeback without Kuldotha.
What about
we haven't really seen it.
What about the other goblins? The sack a guy, make a creature bigger. Sack a goblin, make a creature bigger.
Like Sledders.
Yeah. Do those sort of like seem better than a gold? Like just literally replacing the Gold Hounds for a Sledder? Like, does that seem? Yeah, is that too all in?
Probably not. I would say like without Kuldotha, I don't really think that guy's playable. If you had also Blast Runners, I would maybe be more inclined to lead towards that being playable because you can trigger your guy. But I think without a cheap 1-mana like sack outlet, I would very much be a bit iffy on playing either of those. To be honest, I think if club cost, like if it dealt 3 and cost 1, I'll be close to saying just put blast runners in, put 4 clubs in, and then just be like clubbing people with synths and attacking with blast runners. Like that sounds pretty good, but 2 mana's just an awkward spot for this deck, I think.
What's your thoughts on 18 lands? Is 18 lands a lot? Is 18 lands too many? With a lot of 1-drops,
I mean, it seems pretty high, especially with 2 gold hounds as well. I think 17 would probably be functional. Yeah, like you haven't really, like if you draw a few too many lands, you don't really have the card advantage to get out of it. Like you've got Epicures and the Simps, but the Simps are so slow because you're just sacking them on 3. Yeah, I'd be tempted to say 17. It would probably be fine.
Just genuine curious because it does look a lot to me with all these 1-drops.
Yeah. But I guess like after board, you sort of want 2 lands on 2 for the Cast Into the Fires and the Serum Blazes. Like you want to just be like turn to my like sideboard card. So it makes it awkward in that regard.
Fair enough. But yeah, pretty cool to see a different take on red. That's 2 weeks of 2 different reds, as well as the other 2 that we've got. Yeah,
there's obviously Rally and Madness, and then we had like the Pinger Burn last week, and then this Sly list this week.
Cool to see. Very cool to see.
I have one other honourable mention from outside the top 10. I don't know if you've got anything else in the top 10 you want to look at first.
Nope.
So where's it gone? I've lost it now. I have found another one though that's quite interesting, but I think it was 12. Yeah, 12th place. I'm not even sure what I'll call it. It's basically like black-red gardens, maybe. I don't know what your thoughts on this are. It's essentially like a mono-black affinity shell, but with like just a pile of removal.
Yeah, it's like a red-black artifacty control sort of deck, right? It is. It's like red-black affinity, but it's had a love child with gardens, I guess.
Yeah, and the red's literally for like 2 crack clams. Otherwise, it's basically mono-black. I think there's 1 Gorilla Shaman in the sideboard as well. But yeah, there's 2 Drossfords, 2 Great Furnace, and 2 Rakdos Carnariums, basically to support 2 Crackland Shamans. Yeah, quite interesting. Like 4 Blood Fountain, 4 Wellspring, 2 Spell Bombs, 2 Tyrant Blades. Only 11 creatures with 4 Familiars, 3 Enforcers, a single Pack Doll, a single Crypt Rats, and then 2 Cracklands. And then basically just like a very Gardens-looking suite of removal of Cast Downs, Fungal Infection, Snuff Out, Spin in Darkness, and then like some weirdos like Tragic Slip. And then a load of 2-mana sack draw 2s with Insights and Offerings and Bargains.
Pretty cool deck,
very interesting.
At least they got Murder Enforcer to close the game out, I guess. Pretty cool.
Yeah. And then I guess this one sort of for you to mention, the 14th place is a Cauldron Familiar Pestilence deck.
Always love to see it.
With Heaped Harvest.
Always love to see it.
Also playing Temporal Intervention though, which I know is a card you were pretty high on from EOE.
Yeah, I do think like obviously the cat food sort of decks are pretty good for being Temporal Intervention decks, which is pretty sweet. And you also get some weird like Pestilence tricks as well for like the mid game, but just showcasing some nutrient blocks is always cool.
This is a good example of someone who does not value the time though.
Funny.
But yeah, very interesting challenges.
Would like to shout out 20th place.
We're going right down now.
No, I just want to shout out one person. Got to shout out Crouching Pig. Our resident Elves player in the Casting Commons Discord mentioned that they were playing the challenge and managed to just miss out on 20th with a 4-2. Unfortunate losses round 1 and 3 meant that they couldn't top 8. But I played 4 Vitu-Ghazi Inspectors, which they said were performing. We played 4 Sagu Wildlings in the sideboard, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
For sure. and pretty sweet to see them do pretty well. Anything else?
No, I'm happy to move on.
So let's talk hot takes from last week.
Yeah, the first listener hot take was that Luminati's four spike Terra build would become the norm. I don't think it's quite become the norm. Obviously, there are more people playing it now, as we've seen. But Terra seemed to have like quite a bit of a dip this week, at least from the top 16. So maybe it might return next week.
For sure. The next listener hot take was that they're waiting for High Tide to start main deck Murmur Mystic, and that did not happen. We only seen the one in the top 8. And that did
again, High Tide had a pretty down week as well. My hot take from last week was that Grixis Affinity would slowly rejuvenate its popularity. It has not exploded, but it might be starting. You never know. Yeah,
it doesn't seem to be. It's still definitely got a consistency, right, for sure. It's a lot more than it has in the past 2 months or so, like over the past few weeks. Yeah. So it's definitely.
And we got two in the top 8. So.
Mine was that the 4 Inspector, 4 Migrating, Ketrodon, Elves, Cyborg plan will top 8 next week, and I don't even think we had an Elves, right?
No, it looked a bit of a tough week for Elves, to be honest, with the decks that were propping up with stuff like blue black fair, all the red decks. There's loads of Crackland Shaman decks as well, which it didn't look pleasant for Elves.
As a general consensus, right? The meta seems pretty good right now. Obviously. Maybe it's just like a cyclical thing that obviously Terra's sort of on a downwards trend because it's sick of dying to Elves, and these decks that are doing quite well are all generally, as you say, pretty good Elves, anti-Elves decks, and maybe that's why they did so well. Maybe it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think it's very varied at the moment. Like you're saying, it sort of is cycling different decks in and out, but I think green red ramp doing so well in the Friday and the Sunday is pretty telling of the meta has changed to a point where that is now good again.
Yeah, for sure. Hot takes for next week?
Yeah. The first listener hot take is from trainer Lucas, and it is that they will ban Riven Chrysalis in the next BNR. That is a bold one.
Which I'm not against. Fucking hate that card.
No, but I don't think it'll happen.
But guys, please stop doing ban hot takes. I'm sick of tracking them. But always cool. I do like to see people's thoughts, right? We also, for a counterpoint, we had Nick's another alum of the pod saying that basically they think it won't get banned because it's actually a good thing for the format, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, it's pretty cool that people obviously have completely different takes, for sure. But please stop giving me hot takes that are banning. Because I'm sick of tracking
it'll make the announcement episode really spicy.
Yeah, the announcement episode, we have got lots to talk about because we've got about 70 things to untrack. The next listener hot take is from Calicais themselves, which is actually not a hot take, it is a cold take. And the cold take is that there'll be no changes.
Yeah, I think especially looking at what's going on this week in the challenges, why would you change anything? My hot take, sort of on top of that, of the wild variety of the format at the moment, is that Terra will continue to be represented less in the top 8s as the format remains very open and wild and strange.
Fair. Down on Terra is always a good thing for me. I'm always happy to see less Terra. Makes the podcast much more interesting for sure. My hot take is that we will see a non-high tide combo deck top 8 next week. I know obviously we had FAMs, but I'm sort of thinking more...
And Poison Storm.
And Poison Storm, of course.
Which and is Spy Wolf.
The Poison Storm is, I guess, actually, wait. Non-high tide and non-spy. I always forget that spy's there. It's not really a combo deck, honest.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see a bit more... resurrection of Pauper. I believe there was a paper event in Barcelona last week, maybe, that was 100 or so players that got won by Cycle Storm.
Cool.
So there's definitely potential for combo decks to still do well. Obviously, we've seen the Poison Storm do well this week as well, and FAMs, obviously. So yeah, I don't think that's out of the question.
Maybe Mugwort.
Hamuda might click the wrong deck again.
Anything else to add?
No, that's it from me.
Thank you all for the continued support. If you have enjoyed this podcast, please do not forget to share it with your friends, your family, your local Pauper community, and even your mechanic. That is all from us at Cast and Comments. Until next time, and don't forget to stay hydrated. Peace!
Bye.